Welcome back to Intuition on Tap. I'm Heidi, intuitive and mental health coach, author, and soul guide, and I'm so grateful to be in your ears today. This podcast is your sacred space to quieten the noise, hear your inner wisdom, and remember who you truly are, beneath the stories, the conditioning, and the overwhelm. Today's episode is a big one because we're diving into something that's shaped so many of us, whether you grew up in chaos or in calm. And we're talking about intuition, but not the light and fluffy crystal ball kind of intuition that Instagram memes love to post about. I mean the real kind, the kind that lives in your body, that wakes you up in the middle of the night, that whispers, something's not right here, and that roars, you already know. So many of us, especially empaths, intuitives, and survivors, were never taught to trust this voice. In fact, we were trained to ignore it, to second guess it, to see it as irrational or too sensitive, to push it down, to quiet it, to dull it, to tell it to shut up. And that's why today's episode is titled, Why Intuition is the Ultimate Reclamation. Because when you reclaim your intuition and your intuitive intelligence, you reclaim your body, you reclaim your truth, and you reclaim your power. You also reclaim the you that was never broken, only buried. Let's begin. Intuition isn't a party trick, it's a survival skill. Let's get something straight from the very beginning. Intuition isn't some special superpower reserved for mystics, witches, or healers. It's a biological, psychological, energetic, and spiritual process that's deeply woven into your human experience. And if you had a childhood where safety was inconsistent, love was conditional, or boundaries were non-existent, then your intuition was likely your first line of defense. Now, here's what I mean by that. You learned how to read the room before you entered it. You could feel the shift in someone's energy before they said a word. And you picked up on micro expressions, the twitch of an eyebrow, the clench of a jaw, as if your life depended on it. Because in many cases, in fact, it did. So this isn't woo-woo. This is neurobiology. It's the nervous system adapting for survival. And it's why so many people with complex trauma also happen to be highly intuitive. But here's the piece that often gets missed. What was once hypervigilance can, when healed and integrated, become clear intuition. So I think it's important to know that, and to remember, in fact, that your system was never broken. It was never too much. It was speaking in a language that no one taught you to trust. So that's the first reclamation, honoring the wisdom of the body that tried to keep you safe. And I would assert that is continuing to attempt to keep you safe. The conditioning that separated you from your knowing. So now let's talk about why so many people lose touch with their intuition. It's not because they're not spiritual. It's not because they're not gifted. It's because they were conditioned out of it. So think about it. How many times were you told, you're just being dramatic, don't make things up, you're too sensitive, stop overreacting, that never happened, you're way too emotional, for God's sake, stop crying. This is gaslighting. Whether intentional or not, it teaches you to distrust your inner cues. And over time, you learn to outsource your truth. I'm going to say that again. Over time, you learn to outsource your truth. You learn to seek permission instead of following your gut and your inner wisdom. You rationalize instead of intuitively knowing. and you please others instead of honoring yourself. And when you layer that with trauma, well, you end up with a cocktail of perfectionism, people pleasing, and chronic self doubt, all of which disconnect you from your intuitive core. So here's your second reclamation: releasing the conditioning that told you your truth wasn't valid. Your knowing isn't too much, it's your guidance system. And reclaiming it doesn't make you selfish, it makes you sovereign. The grief that comes with reclamation. Something we don't really talk about enough on the intuitive path is grief. Because when you start reclaiming your intuition, you'll also start remembering. You'll remember the times you knew but didn't listen. You'll remember that toxic relationship you stayed in, even though your gut, your heart, your mind, your body screamed, "Get out." The job you took, even though your body tightened every time you thought about it. The friend you trusted, even though something always felt off about this person and how they interacted with you. And that remembering hurts because it's a sense of betrayal, not of others to you, but of you to yourself. And that grief is sacred. It's part of your healing, because each time you grieve a moment you ignored your intuition, you're also saying to yourself, I can hear you now. I'm listening. And I won't abandon you again. That's powerful. That's sacred. And that's you becoming the safe space you've always needed. Your intuition is not separate from you. It is you. So let's take this even deeper. Your intuition isn't just a tool, it's part of your consciousness. It's your higher self speaking through the language of the body. It speaks in a number of different ways, and I'm sure you can relate to one, if not all of these. Butterflies in your stomach, perhaps a tightness in your chest, a whisper of yes or a scream of a no, sudden clarity in the shower, dreams that feel like clear messages. It's not outside of you, it is you. And when you honor your intuition, you're not just quote unquote being spiritual, you're practicing energetic self respect. You're saying, I trust myself to lead me. I don't need external validation to follow my knowing. I am safe to choose what aligns with my soul, even if it disappoints others. This is radical, especially for women, especially for empaths, and especially for those raised to defer to authority, to family, to religion, or to patriarchal systems. Which is why reclaiming your intuition is, in fact, one of the most rebellious and most healing things you can possibly do. Reclamation in action. So, what it looks like in daily life. So, how do we live our reclamation? Not just as a concept, but as a daily embodied practice. It looks like this. So saying no when your energy says no, even if your mouth wants to say yes. Leaving the room when something feels off, even if you can't explain why. Canceling plans because your body needs rest, not productivity. Noticing that someone's words don't match their energy and trusting that. And it's also in the micro decisions, those daily, tiny micro decisions. It's in how you speak to yourself after ignoring your inner voice. And this is a really important one because I feel that sometimes we become our own abusers. We take on that role from the external abusers, and we become the abuser of ourselves. So ask yourself, do you shame yourself, or do you get curious? Because it's in how you allow your nervous system to be the messenger, not the enemy. And it is also in how you build a life that is not just technically safe, but emotionally, spiritually, and energetically safe. And that is why this is a reclamation as a lifestyle, not a single moment, but a continual and continuous return to yourself. Intuition is collective healing too. One of the most beautiful things about reclaiming your intuition is this. It doesn't just change your life, it changes how you show up in the world. You start to parent differently. Even if you don't have children of your own, you may even find that you start to parent your inner child differently as well. You begin to lead from a more embodied space. So when you show up fully present, people can feel the difference in that, and they begin to treat you differently. You stop tolerating what doesn't feel right, and this also gives others permission to do the same, particularly if you're in a position of leadership. This ripples into relationships, it ripples into businesses, into friendships, into your creativity. You become someone who no longer needs to be told what to do because you're in a relationship with your own soul and your own self. And that's world changing. That's the kind of reclamation that alters timelines. Your soul knows, always has, always will. So let me ask you this. What is your intuition asking you to remember today? What part of you is ready to come home? And what would shift if you fully trusted your inner knowing? Because the truth is, your soul already knows. It's never stopped knowing. And it's not too late. You haven't missed the moment or your one opportunity or the only chance. Reclaiming your intuition is not about getting it perfect. It's about practicing presence. It's about remembering that your power doesn't lie in knowing all of the answers all of the time. It lies in trusting that you're capable of navigating what comes from within. So thank you for being here, for listening, and for remembering, for reclaiming your sacred connection to your inner compass. Your intuition is your birthright, and I'm so honored to be able to walk this path with you. If this episode resonated, I'd love to hear from you. And please do feel free to share it with someone who's reclaiming their voice. Perhaps leave a review or tag me on Instagram at Miss Heidi Jane. Your shares do help the message ripple far and wide. So until next time, stay intuitive, stay empowered, and remember, your truth is sacred. Your soul is wise, and your intuition is always on tap.